Hey everybody, welcome back to the garage. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please go ahead, click on subscribe, and also click on the bell to receive all the updates and activities on my channel. Alright, so this is the latest on the rebuild of the 1996 Polaris Ultra 680 SP. Today is graphics day. We are giving the Ultra its identities back. So what we've done is I've purchased a reproduction graphics kit from a company called Auto Graphics Limited. But just to be clear, this is a reproduction kit. The graphics do vary from the original Polaris design. They are very close, but because of trademark concerns and everything else, the graphics are different in a little bit in the shape and colors. But for the most part, they are pretty true to the original graphics on the Ultra. All right, so what I've done so far is I've put on the strip on the rub strip, well the graphic on the rub strip. We put the tunnel decals, the seat decal. Also put the lettering on the front, and put the decal on the front bumper, and also see if we can get there, and the NDSP. Right. This is what we have left. We have the Ultra on both sides, the Swoop, and the lower hood decals. Alright, so I have the original hood propped up and we're using it as a reference. If you're doing a project like this, before you remove the decals, take a lot of pictures because you're going to want to use it as a reference when you're getting ready to put decals on. So what we're doing is we're taking dimensions from where the graphic starts in relationship to the hood. So that's roughly 3 inches. And if you look at the graphic, it comes up and then it goes down on the center of that spine, and it terminates at the hood hinge pocket. So what I've done is I've measured out the same distance, put a piece of tape, and basically that's going to be my starting dimension. And we put the graphic on there and we just kind of loosely laid it down there, and it's pretty much all set to go. So, but before we apply it, we gotta clean the surface. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take isopropyl alcohol and we're gonna wipe down the entire surface with the alcohol and a microfiber cloth, and that will remove any silicones, grease, whatever. So when you do get ready to put the graphic on, you'll have a good bond. And after we clean it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the wet method, and we're gonna spray this stuff I have from Arctic FX. It's essentially just an application liquid. For the most part, it's just soap and water. And what we'll do is we'll wet the surface down. And what this will allow us to do, it will allow us to play around with the graphic as we're getting the placement down. And so we can make any final adjustments as we do it. All right, so take your isopropyl alcohol. Make sure it's isopropyl and not rubbing alcohol. There's a difference between the two. And just put some on a clean microfiber cloth. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to clean the surface and make sure there's no oils or grease or anything like that on it. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our application fluid. We're just going to spray it down in the area where the graphic is going to be. Take your graphic, make sure your hands are clean, and what we're going to do is we're going to separate the graphic from the backing paper. Alright, so at this point we're just going to take a plastic squeegee and we're going to go against the graphic and set it in. All right, now that we have the release paper removed, all you're gonna do is take your microfiber towel and just press it down. And making sure we get good adhesion. All right, so now we're getting ready to put on the Ultra script. So we did the same thing. I took a measurement from the radius of that swoosh, and the A starts about 2 3/4 inches. So what we've done is I put a piece of tape there, and what we'll do is we'll leave that there, and we'll take the backing decal off, and then we'll apply the graphic using the same wet method. And the graphic at the top of the font, there's approximately a 3/8 of an inch space that's parallel with the graphic. So what we'll do is we'll line that up, and we'll make sure the lettering is straight all the way down. So again, putting our application fluid on. So what you want to do is, when you're actually getting ready to prep your decals, try to take as much backing paper off as you can. So when you apply this, you want to be looking at the graphic and not the actual backing paper. Because if you do that, you know, say if you leave it long by an inch, you're really gonna have a tough time getting your alignment squared away. But by keeping this as close as you can, you'll be able to focus on the edge where you need to be. So I'm looking at it, and we look pretty good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll it back, and we're just gonna so again, we're gonna take our squeegee, and we're gonna start setting the graphic. Take our microfiber towel, use that to push in as well, because since this is a radius, this will actually help you out. All right, so now we're gonna peel the backing paper away, pull it at a sharp angle so you don't peel the graphic off. Let's go nice and slow, and if it does start to roll, no big deal. Just tap it back down with your fingers. No reason to panic. Okay, so now we're going to take our microfiber towel again, and we're just going to make sure the graphic is adhering well. Make sure you get down to the radius. You know, no air bubbles or anything like that. So I'm looking at two things. I'm looking at the alignment on the graphic in that body line, and that looks pretty good. And then I'm also looking at the where the graphic is falling in with the taper of the whatever you want to call this one. It looks pretty good. So it's pretty good here, and then we have a nice gap, and then it closes back down on itself, which is how the original graphic on the hood was. All right, so now they got you confidence with the two graphics that we did. Now you can move on to the bigger graphics, all right? And sometimes bigger graphics can be a challenge just because the sheer size of them and everything else, and at points it may feel like you're wrestling with an octopus. All right, so again, we've cut it out. We've removed pretty much all the backing paper that we need to, because this one is kind of free flowing. It really doesn't tie in with anything. So we have a little bit more freedom as far as the placement. But there's a couple things you want to do because again, this is a lot of surface area, and because this is a radius and a compound angle, when you try to apply it, what's going to happen is because you have so much surface area, this is going to want to conform. So all you're going to do is, before you start to go at it, just take your scissors and just make a relief on that. And so what that will do is, when you go to apply it, this will kind of be separated from that. It'll be independent. It'll be a lot easier to apply the graphic. All right, so if you're applying graphics over any type of convex, radius surface, angle surface, you're going to run into this, and this is normal. So all we're going to do to correct it is we're going to use a heat gun, and what we're going to do is we're just going to apply heat to the graphics, and what will happen is it will shrink, and then we'll be able to smooth that out. So a little word of caution, all it takes is a little bit of heat to shrink it. You're not going to hold it there for a long time, or you're going to melt the graphic. So just take a heat gun, and what we're going to do work from the center. All right, so the graphics are all done. For the most part, they went on without any issues. So I'll give you a quick walk around. All right, so as far as quality of these graphics on this particular set, I'd probably give it like a 9 out of 10. Everything fit pretty well. All the dimensions were pretty much spot on. Didn't run into any issues. So one thing you got to realize with reproduction decals, they're not going to be 100% correct, and because of trademark violations, everything else, they do have to change the graphics a little bit. But as far as shape and design of the graphics, those are spot on. There's really no difference as far as the shape and design of them. The only difference that I saw is, two things. As far as color representation, the purple's good, and the pink or magenta, whatever it is. But in the swoosh, there's a little bit more orange, where on the Polaris is red. And as far as the fade on the transition on the Ultra, it's a little bit more coarser, and so that's a little bit different. But so what we'll do is we'll walk over to the original hood. All right. So again, here's the original letters. Again, it's purple to a whitish gray, whatever color it is. But the dots on the fade, they're smaller, so it's a nicer fade, so it's a nicer transition. And then there's more of a red on the graphic versus orange. But beggars can't be choosers. Polaris isn't making these graphics, so unless you find a custom sign shop or somebody else, you gotta be satisfied with what's available on the market. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm very happy with how it came out. If you saw the sled by itself, if you didn't know that these were reproduction decals, I don't think the average person would know. But again, if it's parked next to a original sled with the original graphics, you'll see it pretty immediately. But you know what? I'm very happy with it. I would buy it again. I'd give it a thumbs up. All right, so the fact that we're at this point, this is a major milestone for this sled, because for those of you who have watched the build series on this, I didn't think it would ever get to this point, and the fact that we're looking at it in this condition, I'm very happy with it. So at this point, as far as what's left on it, there's just a lot of little things. What we'll do is we're probably going to move on to other things at this point. We're going to kind of be done with the Ultra, and what we'll do is we'll go get the XCR 440. We're going to start on a pipe project because winter is coming. I looked at the weather earlier today, and it's supposed to be in the 50s at the end of this week. So winter is coming. Time is of the essence. All right, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, go leave them in the comments box. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day. See ya.